Okay, so we'll discuss now sequences. So what is mean by sequence in general is nothing but a serial number, right? Something kind of a serial number. Here also it is same thing, nothing different. Okay, we are going to generate serial numbers and we are going to use them. That's it. That's about sequences. Okay, we'll see exactly how it is going to generate and in which cases we are going to use this. We'll see. Okay, first we'll see this complete syntax of sequences, like what are all the options available. Then we'll see practically how can we use those options to create serial numbers in different ways. Okay, so to create any database object, we have to use this create command only. So as of now, we created, right? Tables we created, right? So the next one is sequences. Okay, so what object I'm going to create? Of course, sequence, right? Create sequence followed by sequence name. Any name you can write here. Okay, so as per the requirement, why you are creating it, based on that, we can give any meaningful name. Fine, create sequence name. That's it. This line is enough to create a
Sir,
sequence
your voice
actually.
is continuously breaking, sir.
Breaking, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Audible, sir, but voice is breaking in.
Okay. Now is it okay?
Now, okay, sir.
Okay. So this line is enough to create a sequence. Okay. And some additional options are there, but all those lines are optional. Okay. So as per the requirement, depends on the situation, you may or may not use them. Okay. So that's why I'm writing them in these braces. So wherever you're seeing this type of braces in any syntax, that means that is optional. Okay. If you want, you can use it. Otherwise, not required to use it. Okay. So after creating the sequence, there is something like this. It is start with. Okay. You can write some number there. Okay. And the default, by default, if you are not writing anything, we start with or something. By default, it will start with 1. Okay. If you don't want to start with value 1, serial number 1, then you can use that option start with to start with any number. Okay. And then next option is again optional, that is increment by. So increment means after 1 what will come next? 2, then 3. So every time it is incrementing with one value, right? So if you want to increment your serial numbers, you can use this option, but by default incrementing value is 1. If you are not using this option, means by default it will be
Sir,
incrementing with
your voice is
1.
breaking again, sir.
One second. Okay. So incrementing by is nothing but to increment a value, right? So by default, every value will be incrementing with 1, like 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. If you don't want that incrementing with 1, then you can use this option increment by. You can write any value, whatever the difference you want to see from one value to other value. We'll see later. Then again, next one is optional. Okay, so that is max value. Okay, so we'll discuss this what is this max value, okay, with example, then we'll understand more better. And then again optional min value, and you have to give some value there. We'll see that. And then cycle,
Okay, cycle is just nothing but you have to write yes or no kind of. So means whether you want to repeat this serial numbers again from starting or not. Okay, for example, I'm writing serial numbers from 1 to 10. That's it. After reaching 10 number, if you want to start again with 1, or if you want to repeat that cycle again, then you can use this cycle option. If you don't want, you can stop that cycle. Okay, we'll see that in example. Then last option, again optional. Okay, that is cache. Okay, so cache, you have to write some size is there. What is this cache? We'll discuss. Okay, so cache is nothing but kind of a buffer, memory area. Okay, we'll discuss with practical, so then we'll understand more better. But as of now, I'll tell you one thing. Default is 20. Okay, default is 20. We'll see what is meant by 20 later. Okay, so right, so we have these many lines to create a sequence, right? But all these are not required to create. Only the first line is enough to us to create a sequence. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll take one by one option and we'll create. But as of now, let's create with only the first line, create sequence followed by sequence name. Let me connect it. Okay, so I'm just creating a sequence now. Create sequence followed by sequence name. Any name you can give, like how you give as of now table names, right? Same way, because it will be stored in the database. So you have to give unique name, right? So for example, I'm creating this sequence related to some employee table. So I want to give this name. Okay, emp underscore sequence, semicolon, and executing. Sequence created successfully. You can see this message. Good. Means sequence is ready. Okay, so is it having any data inside of this sequence? No. Okay, it will be not having any data. You can see this. I'm writing select start from emp underscore seq sequence. So what it is telling? Sequence not allowed here. Okay, so I'm writing this sequence name in the from class, but it is telling sequence not allowed here. Okay, so because you know already in the from class what we can write, only source of the data, whatever is having data, that all the things you can write, like table name, view, synonym, and even a subquery yesterday we written. So like that, whatever is having data that you can write, but this sequence is not having any data. Okay, so then how it is giving numbers? It will is going to generate. Okay, whenever you are executing, that time it is going to generate a serial number for you. That's it. But it is not having anything already as a storage. Okay, so that's why you can't write it here. So then how to know what is the first number, or how to use this sequence first of all? Okay, to use this sequence, we have two things actually to know now. Okay, so that is next val, and other one is curval. Okay, so what is these two things? These are like a columns. How we have employee number, employee name, job, manager, hire date. Okay, so same way these two also columns, but employee number, employee name belongs to a table. Department number, department name belongs to some table. Okay, but these two columns not belongs to any table. Okay, these two not belongs to any table, but still you can use these two columns just like a actual columns, like employee number, employee name only. But only the thing is, you can't modify any data type or something. You can't make any changes to these two columns. For employee number, employee name, you can change the name, you can change the data type, you can increase the size, you can do anything, right? But here it is not possible to do. Okay, you can just use these columns as per the requirement. That's it. Okay, so what is these two columns called as? Pseudo columns. Okay, what is meant by this? Okay, pseudo columns. So what is meant by pseudo columns? Pseudo columns are nothing but like actual columns, but we can't perform any manipulations on these columns, but still we can use these columns like an actual columns only. Okay, so what is meant by next val? The name itself, it is there, next value. To generate a next value from the sequence, you can use this next val. Okay, what is curval? The name itself, it is there, current value. To see what is the current value used, last time used from the sequence, for that purpose we can use this column curval. Okay, so we can't use this sequence alone. Remember, to use this sequence, definitely we have to go through any one of these two columns. One is next val. What is the purpose of next val? To generate next value from the sequence. Curval, to see the current value, whatever used last time from the sequence. Okay, let's see now how we can use these two. So we already created a sequence, right? Let me take this down. Okay, and I'm writing now, select star from, is this sequence not related to any table, so I'm just using dual now. Okay, and in place of star, what I'm going to see or what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to write that sequence name emp_seq dot, let's see first curval. Okay, if there is any value from the sequence. What is the purpose of curval? I told you, right? It is just to return the current value from the sequence if you have used already. Okay, in this session, if we have used this sequence already, then it will return you whatever the value you used last time. Okay, but let's see now. What is the error? Sequence is not yet defined in this session. Okay, so means it is telling you have not used this sequence in this session yet. Okay, is telling again sequence curval has been selected before sequence next val. Okay, so what is telling, before generating a next value from the sequence, you are trying to use curval, which is not possible. Okay, when we can use this curval or when we can see the current value from the sequence, only whenever you generated a value from the sequence in the session. Okay, again it is session to session. Session means, you know, right? This is a new session I opened today. Tomorrow I will open a new session again. Okay, so it is related to session to session. So we can't generate current value from the sequence now. Okay, let's go back and I'm just creating a new value from the sequence using this option next val from dual. That's it. Okay, I'm executing it. You can see what is the value is generating 1. Let me execute it again. 2, 3, 4. It started with which value? Value 1, and every time it is incrementing with 1 value, 6, 7, like that. It is simply incrementing with 1. Okay, so means by default sequence will be starting with value 1 and incrementing by 1. It's clear, right? And there is no end now. It will go on like this. No end, no max value is there. There is no limit for this serial number now. Okay, because we just created sequence, that's it. No other options used here. Now I'm generating this again. Okay, so what is the next value? 15K, right? So now if you want to see what is the last value I have used from the sequence in this session, then you can use this curval option. See, it will show you like this. Clear about it? Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll create new sequence now with a different option. Okay, create sequence name, seq1 I gave. Now by default it is starting with 1, right? So I don't want to start with 1. For example, I want to give 5 or 10. Okay, let me give 1000. Okay, sorry, 1001. Done. Now I'm executing sequence created. Okay, and I'm generating the first value. You can see what it is going to do. So the first time it was starting with 1, but now it is starting with 1001 because I'm using this option start with. That's it. And if I generate next value again, 1002, 3, 4. Again, it is incrementing with 1 only. No difference there. It's clear, right? Now, this is about start with. So what we'll do now? I'm creating a new sequence. Start with is 1001, let it be. And I'm going to use now increment by also. So as of now, by default, it is incrementing with value 1. But now what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell, let's take 10. Okay, increment by 10. Let's see now. Sequence created successfully. And let's generate the first value from this sequence. 1001, good. Now the next value will not be 1002, right? So it is going to be 1011, 21, 31, 41, 51. So means every time now it is incrementing with 10. That is the use of increment by. Clear, right? Now I am trying to use one more option. In addition to that, let it be 1001 only. And let it be increment by 10 also if you want. Okay. Okay, otherwise I will change this value just to avoid the confusion. Let me start with the value 5. Okay, and increment by we'll do it 2 just to avoid the confusion, because now I'm going to use this option max value. Okay, and we'll give you a limit now. So already for the first sequence 1, if you see how many values we used, sorry, not this one, right? 1, sorry. Let me change it here. For the first sequence, if you see, sorry, 16 values now I utilized, right? 16 I utilized. If I go next, 17, 18, 19, 20 I utilized, right? Still it is coming. No limit for this, right? But now what I'm going to do, max value now I'm giving for this option as 15. Okay, so means it should not cross 15. After 15, it should not go, right? That is the meaning of it. So I'm creating sequence 3 with these 3 options now created successfully. And let me generate the first value from here. Started with 5, good. Next value will be 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, done. So what will be the next value? Actually 17. But what it is telling, it's throwing an error. What is that? Sequence exceeds max value and cannot be instantiated. Means it is telling clearly you already reached the max value. You already reached the limit. Okay, so it can't generate any next value now. Clear, right? That is the use of max value. So what we'll do now, we'll use min value also, and we'll see if it create any difference for us, sir. Okay, I'm creating sequence 4 now. Let it be all these options as it is, but I'm using extra this option min value, and let me give Just to avoid the confusion, I'm giving a different number 3. Let's see where this value 3 will come. I'm creating the sequence 4 created, generating first value 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, right? Max value reached. So then what will be happen next? Let's see. Same error. Sequence exceeds max value. So we are not getting value this 3 anywhere. We are not seeing this value 3 anywhere, right? Means it's not useful here. Okay, so in this case, in this example, it's not useful. We'll see where it is useful. Okay, let me now use another option. Next option, cycle. Okay, let it be all these options as it is with the same values. I'm creating sequence 5, but this time I'm using cycle. Cycle means I'm going to repeat this loop, right? Let's see now. Sorry. So what is the error? Number to cache must be less than 1 cycle. Okay, so what does that mean? Read this second thing. Number to cache given is number to cache. We are not using this cache option right now, but number to cache given is larger than values in a cycle. Okay, so what it is telling, enlarge the cycle or cache fewer values. What is the cache? What is meant by cycle? I told you, right? It is just going to repeat. What is our cycle limit? 15. So after reaching 15, it used to start again, second cycle. Okay, so 15 is the maximum value for me, right? But what is the cache default size and what is meant by cache we'll discuss. Okay, first we'll see what is cache and how it is going to work. We'll see now first, because it is showing error related to cache. So by default, cache size is 20. Okay, you don't need to write this 20. If you use this option means by default it will take 20. So let me clear it and create it again. I'm not writing anything. Let's see. Okay, so first it is asking specify a valid number for this. Let me use 22. I'll tell you what is this cache later. Okay, so same error is coming. Number to cache must be less than 1 cycle. Means what is the cache size now I gave in here? 22. This should be less than 1 cycle. What is my cycle size? 15. Max value is 15, right? This one. So number to cache must be less than 1 cycle. My cycle size is 15 and cache size is given as a 22. So 22 should be less than 15. Of course, not possible. So it is throwing error. So by default, it will take size as 20. Okay. If we give 19, it will throw error because my cycle size is 15. So what we'll do, if I give 14, it won't throw any error. Okay. But what we'll do now, just for example, let me take cache size as something 4. Okay. So then what will happen? My cache size is now 4. 4 is less than 15. Yes. Let's see what is this cache later. I'm just executing. Created successfully now. Okay. So now let me generate first value from here. Started with 5. Good. Next value 7. Incremented with 2, 11, 13, 15 reached. But actually it is error after 15 if I try to use it. But now I'm using the cycle option. Let's see what will happen. What happened? Now it is showing 3 after 15. What is this 3? This 3 is nothing but mid value. Okay. So for the first cycle, it will start with whatever the number you gave here. From the second cycle onwards, it will be starting with minimum value, whatever you are giving. Okay, so now I'm executing it again. Let's see. 3 plus 2, 5, 7, 9, 11. Okay, again 15. This is second cycle, right? Finished. Again, I'm executing. So what is happening? Same. Again, it is starting with 3. So from the second cycle onwards, every time it is going to start with min value. And of course, incrementing by will be the same. Max value will be the same, but min value will be used only from the second cycle onwards as a start number. Okay, understood, right? Now what we'll do, we'll see what is this cache. Just to understand it more clearly. Okay, I'm just writing here, cache size 4 should be less than cycle size 15. Okay, that you remember. Okay, just to avoid the confusion, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one more sequence to understand about this cache and giving with a small size. I'm creating sequence 6 and giving the size as a 2 for cache. All the remaining options are same. Of course, here cache size is 2 and this 2 is less than my cycle size is 50. Okay, and let me create this sequence. Sequence 6 created successfully. Now, I just want to see about all the sequences whichever we created. We'll discuss about this table later, but as of now, I'm using this user underscore sequences. So this is the data dictionary table or metadata table. Whatever the sequences you created, all those sequence details, what is the sequence name, okay, what is the start with value, or whatever the details about your sequence, all those details will be there in this data dictionary table, user underscore sequences. I'm just executing. Let's see. There are so many sequences. Okay, we'll do one thing. Okay, let it be otherwise. What is my sequence number? 6, right? Okay, so this last one, you can see this last one. Min value is 3, max value is 15. And if you see this above things, what is the max value? So very big number it is, because that time there was no max value for those sequences. Okay, so there was 15, whatever I give, right? And whenever I have not given any min value, that time by default it is taking as a 1. Okay, if you don't give any min value, by default it will start with 1. Now increment by whatever you are giving, that increment by is taking. Cycle flag. If we see for these first examples, we have not used any cycle. So by default, that will be no, of course. When I'm using, that time it is taking as a S, means cycle is there, repeating. Okay, this order flag and all not required. And cache size. You can see this cache size for the first examples. It was 20 by default. And then 4. Now it is 2 for the last example. We'll see what is this 2 and how it is going to work now. And there is a last number column, okay, and it is having some values here. We'll see what is that value and how it is working now. Okay, consider this last sequence 6. Cache size, we given it as a 2. And what is the last number it is showing? 5. What is the last number here? 5, right? So what is that means? 5. What is the cache size? 2. Okay, cache size is 2. What is cache means? First of all, it is a memory. Okay, it's just a memory location for me. What is the use of it? What is the use of this sequence? I'm creating some serial numbers, right? So when I'm creating a serial number, so what is the first value? For example, in this case, 5, right? What is the first value starting with 5? Let me create this. I'm just executing. First value used, right? First value used 5. So what will be the next value? 7, right? Next value will be 7. Let's go and check in this user sequences table about this EMP6, sequence 6. and it is showing the last number as 9. Now which value I used? 5 I used. So what will be the next value? 7, and then next value 9, and it is showing last number as a 9 in the cache. Understood? This last number is nothing but last number in the cache. Means what I'm having, so already I used now. So what will be the next two values? 7, 9. Next two values. Okay, these two are next to two values. So why it is taking this as the last number? Because these two are there now in the memory. Okay, so these two are there in the memory, and the last number is now 9 is the last number in the memory. That's it. Okay, so what is the use of this memory now? So I given it as a 2. That's why every time it is taking 2 next serial numbers into the memory. So what is the use of that? I'm going to generate next value, right? For example, so after 5, what will come? 7. So just for faster purpose, it is already taken into this memory. So easily it will come now without any late. 7 is done. Now let's go and see what is the last number now. Still it is showing 9 only. Okay, let's generate again. I'm using 9 also. Done. So what is the last value now? 9. Actually before 9 also used. So now what will be there? Let's see. What is the last number now? It is showing 13. After 9, I used that complete 2 values. Okay, till using that complete 2 values, that memory is there as it is. And then what it is taking? 11 and 13 into the memory. And from that memory, I will take that next serial numbers. Is it clear what is meant by cache? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. No confusion right till here. So that is about cache. If you are not giving anything also, by default it will take as a 20. Okay. So otherwise you can give any size. Okay. So this is about sequences. Fine. Any questions till now?